Some men never need to say a word because everything about them whispers something else. The way they move, the roles they choose, the way they flirt with fashion, fame, and sometimes each other. In this episode, Rainbow Spotlight dives into 5 strikingly beautiful men who've never said they're gay, but who've also never denied it. They've posted cryptic captions, modeled androgyny, sparked rumors without lifting a finger. And fans? Obsessed. Are they queer? Are they simply unbothered? Or is this Hollywood's most seductive mystery? Especially number 3. That one might just flip what you thought you knew. Where are you watching from? Drop your city below and your pick for the most unlabeled man in Hollywood. Timothée Chalamet, the unlabeled obsession. Timothée Chalamet has never said he's gay, but he's also never said he's not. And somehow that space in between, silent, smoky, speculative, is where his legend began. His breakout role in Call Me By Your Name wasn't just acting. It felt too intimate, too raw. The way he looked at Armie Hammer's character, the trembling hesitations between touches, the final heartbreaking monologue, it all made audiences wonder if he wasn't playing a part, but living it. That performance blurred something. And when the spotlight turned on him, Timothée didn't try to clarify anything. He didn't deny. He didn't label. He just moved through the industry with an elegance and ambiguity that turned him into a modern mystery. He wore sheer blouses, velvet suits, and pearls. He leaned into fluid fashion, wore makeup to premieres, and smiled when asked about his unusual style. In interviews, he spoke about intimacy and connection, but never gender. He dodged the sexuality question not with resistance, but with charm. He let the world keep guessing. Fans analyzed everything. Tumblr threads broke down every side glance, every quote. TikTok speculated about his relationships, his fashion, even his body language in interviews. The LGBTQ+ community especially embraced him, not necessarily for being out, but for being unafraid to radiate softness, vulnerability, and emotional intensity in a culture that still punishes men for doing so. Romantically, he's been linked to several high-profile women: Lily Rose Depp, Isa Gonzalez, Kylie Jenner. But even those relationships felt curated, public but protected, paparazzi-fed yet emotionally unreadable. Some say it's just celebrity life. Others wonder if it's strategic distraction. But Timothée's real allure lies in his refusal to be boxed in. He's not claiming to be a gay icon. He's not denying the role either. He's just being. And that quiet defiance is louder than any coming out post. For some, that ambiguity feels empowering. He becomes a canvas on which people can project hope, desire, or representation. For others, it's frustrating. Why profit from queer attention without clarifying your place in the community? Is it performance, privilege, or something more personal? The truth is, we don't know. And maybe we never will. But that's exactly why he remains so captivating. Timothée Chalamet is less a celebrity and more a symbol of change, of confusion, of the space between labels. He doesn't need to say it out loud. His existence speaks volumes. Drop a 1 if Timmy's silence tells you everything. Felix Mallard, the pretty boy. We can't quite place. Felix Mallard is the kind of man who breaks the internet without trying. Tall, charming, and devastatingly photogenic, he has the soft boy energy Gen Z worships and the kind of hair that makes fan edits go viral. But underneath all the heartthrob hype lies a mystery that fans still haven't cracked. Why does Felix Mallard feel so unmistakably queer-coded when he's never said a word about it? You've probably seen him as Marcus in Ginny and Georgia, the brooding, guitar-playing neighbor with a tragic backstory and smoldering eyes. On paper, it's classic teen dream material. But on screen, Felix brings something different. A kind of vulnerability, a softness, that makes his character more than just another love interest. He doesn't play masculinity with swagger, he plays it with ache. And for queer fans, that hit different. His off-screen persona only fuels the conversation. Felix is stylish in a way that skips straight boy fashion entirely. Crop tops, pearls, rings, occasionally eyeliner. He poses for high fashion shoots in mesh and silk, often looking like he stepped out of a queer Tumblr feed. His voice is gentle, his humor dry, and his body language open. It's not loud. It's not performative. It's just not what people expect from a guy Hollywood tries to frame as a new age heartbreaker. He's been asked about dating. He's been photographed with women, but he's never confirmed a serious public relationship. And in every interview, when the topic of love or attraction comes up, he always keeps it vague. Not shy, just unreadable. And in today's celebrity culture, that's almost more provocative than coming out. What's especially fascinating is how Felix's fan base, largely young, largely queer, has embraced him as one of their own. Not because he claimed it, but because his energy, presence, and quiet refusal to play the stereotypical straight male lead feels like an unspoken kind of solidarity. Like he knows, like he sees them, like he might be them. Critics argue it's all just modern PR, that young actors are taught to lean into queer aesthetics to build followings, that ambiguity sells. But others believe Felix's silence is more personal than strategic. In a world obsessed with labeling, maybe he's choosing to protect what's real, or maybe he's still figuring it out. Either way, the speculation only grows. And so Felix Mallard remains a beautiful question mark. Is he gay, bi, queer, something else entirely? He won't say. He doesn't need to. Because for many fans, Felix represents a new kind of possibility, where masculinity can be soft, beauty can be ambiguous, and identity doesn't have to be declared to be felt. Drop a 2 if Felix's energy has ever made you question your own. Harry Styles, the icon of ambiguity. Harry Styles didn't just break out of one direction. He broke out of every mold the music industry had tried to trap him in. From his androgynous style to his romantic ambiguity, Harry has become one of the most fascinating public figures of his generation. And while he's never explicitly come out as gay, bisexual, pansexual, or anything at all, he's never shut it down either. That silence, it speaks volumes. In the early 2000s and 10s, Harry was the quintessential boy band frontman. Cheeky, handsome, always charming in interviews. His dating life with high-profile women, Taylor Swift, Kendall Jenner, kept tabloids buzzing. But while his straight relationships were splashed across magazine covers, his energy told a more complex story. Fans noticed the way he moved, dressed, and interacted with his male friends. Something about Harry always felt softer, freer, queerer. Then came the fashion evolution. Feather boas, painted nails, pearl necklaces, sheer blouses, high heels. Suddenly, Harry wasn't just a musician. He was a fashion muse, gracing the cover of Vogue in a dress. And while people debated whether that was brave or performative, Harry himself said very little. He embraced fluidity in style, not labels. When asked about his sexuality, he gave vague but open-ended responses. "It's not something I felt I need to explain," he once said. And that's where the intrigue began to take root. His music added fuel to the fire. Songs like Medicine and She were dissected for queer subtext. In concert, he wrapped himself in pride flags, shouted support for LGBTQ+ fans, and told gay attendees he loved them. At one show, he even kissed a male fan on the lips, yet still, no label, no clarification, just vibes. Some praise Harry for queering the mainstream without apology. In an industry still obsessed with heteronormativity, he's opened space for fluid masculinity, gender nonconformity, and queer celebration without a press release. Others criticize the vagueness, accusing him of queerbaiting, profiting from queer aesthetics without the vulnerability of coming out. But maybe the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Maybe Harry Styles isn't pretending, or manipulating, or hiding. Maybe he's just Harry, a man with a platform, using it to express love, creativity, and freedom however it feels right in the moment. Maybe ambiguity isn't always a strategy. Maybe it's an honest reflection of something still unfolding. His presence means something, especially to younger queer fans. For them, Harry isn't just a pop star. He's a symbol that masculinity can be playful. That expression can be untamed, that you don't have to check every box to belong somewhere under the rainbow. Whatever Harry's truth may be, one thing is certain. He's changed the way people see what a man in pop culture can look like and feel like. Drop a 3 if Harry's fearless freedom ever made you feel a little braver. Lucky Blue Smith. The model of mystery. Lucky Blue Smith had the kind of rise most models only dream of. Tall, blonde, with piercing ice blue eyes and cheekbones that could carve stone, he wasn't just a pretty face, he was the face. Runways, billboards, fashion campaigns, Lucky Blue was everywhere by 17. But as his fame soared, so did the speculation. Not just about his meteoric success, but about something more personal. Something he's never confirmed and never denied. From the beginning, Lucky Blue stood out. Not just for his looks, but for the way he carried himself. Effortlessly cool, soft-spoken, and slightly aloof, he had an energy that didn't scream traditional masculinity. His fashion choices pushed boundaries early on. Sheer tops, lace details, painted nails, flowing silks. He embraced the aesthetic of androgyny before it was trendy in mainstream modeling, and long before most male celebrities dared to. But what truly sparked curiosity was how often he appeared in queer-coded spaces. He posed for homoerotic editorial shoots, leaned into intimate poses with other male models, and posted content that left fans wondering, is he just fashion-forward or quietly queer? Despite these moments, Lucky Blue maintained a carefully curated air of mystery. He was romantically linked to a few women. Stormy Henley, the mother of his first child, and later Nara Pellman, whom he married. But even his public relationships didn't stop the questions. In fact, they often made them louder. Because Lucky never felt like someone playing it safe. He felt like someone who knew exactly what he was doing and what he was keeping for himself. What makes Lucky such a fascinating figure isn't just the speculation, it's how unbothered he seems by it. While other celebrities rushed to clarify rumors or lean into them for publicity, Lucky stayed silent. He never made a speech, never did a coming-out interview, and never issued a denial. He simply kept showing up, more stylish, more beautiful, more cryptic than ever. Some fans believe he represents a generation of young men less concerned with labels and more focused on freedom. Others are frustrated by the ambiguity, wishing for clarity in a media landscape starved for visible queer male representation. But maybe Lucky Blue Smith doesn't owe us an answer. Maybe the allure has always been in the not knowing, in the way he subverts expectations without ever saying a word. In a way, his silence became part of his brand. Mysterious, untouchable, fluid in both fashion and presence. And in the end, maybe that's the magic of Lucky Blue Smith. Not in what he says, but in what he suggests. Quietly, stylishly, and undeniably. Drop a 4 if Lucky Blue has ever made you feel like beauty itself could be a form of rebellion. Charles Melton. the heartthrob who keeps you guessing. Charles Melton is the kind of man who walks into a room and makes everyone pause. Chiseled jawline, full lips, brooding gaze. He doesn't need to say a word to leave a lasting impression. Best known for his breakout role as Reggie Mantle on Riverdale, Melton quickly became a fan favorite. Not just for his looks, but for the quiet vulnerability beneath all that swagger. And yet, while his star has risen, so has a different kind of attention. A curiosity. A question mark. Charles Melton has become one of those rare Hollywood men whose name routinely pops up in LGBTQ+ fan circles. Not because he came out, but because he hasn't. And because his energy, both on and off screen, doesn't quite play by the rules of traditional masculinity. From the start, Charles has played roles that lean heavily into physicality and romance. His on-screen relationships, especially in Riverdale, put him firmly in the heartthrob category. But fans notice something deeper. The way he interacts with male co-stars, the softness in his interviews, the tenderness that occasionally slips through his confident persona. On red carpets, in editorial shoots, and even in casual Instagram posts, Melton seems unafraid to blur lines, stylistically, emotionally, and aesthetically. And while he's dated women publicly, including a high-profile relationship with Riverdale co-star Camila Mendes, he's never made a big show of defining himself. No declarations of being straight. No corrections when fans speculate. He's allowed the whispers to exist, and in doing so, he's become something of a queer-coded icon. Someone whose silence isn't defensive, but intriguing. What really set fans buzzing was Charles's unexpected vulnerability in recent years. After starring in May-December alongside Julianne Moore and Natalie Portman, critics began seeing him as more than a CW star. He was nuanced, emotional, open, and when he spoke about loneliness, insecurity, and self-identity in interviews, especially in the context of being biracial and under constant public scrutiny, people began reading between the lines. Was he just introspective, or was there more he wasn't saying? In today's media landscape, the line between representation and speculation is razor thin, and Charles Melton walks it better than most. Some fans believe he's simply private. Others are convinced his refusal to label himself is part of a slow-burn coming-out journey. And then there are those who see him as an ally, someone who doesn't need to be gay to radiate queer energy, and maybe that's enough. Whether he's standing shirtless under a moody filter or cracking a quiet joke during a press tour, Charles knows his power. He knows what people say, and he's not rushing to stop them. Drop a 5 if Charles Melton has ever made you wonder what if, even for a second. Some men don't need a label to light up the LQBI plus imagination. They never say yes, never say no, and somehow that silence speaks volumes. In this episode, we explored 5 beautiful magnetic stars who've danced at the edge of queer curiosity. From Timothée's fluid energy to Charles's quiet intimacy, they've challenged our ideas of masculinity, sexuality, and celebrity without ever making a declaration. They've left us wondering, feeling, seeing ourselves without confirmation. And maybe in today's world, that's its own kind of representation. So tell us, which of these 5 made you question the most? Drop a 1 to 5 below. And let us know, where in the world are you watching from? Because sometimes the biggest impact comes from the things never said out loud.